This is a monthly chart of the Nasdaq. Welcome to my daily review. And I wanted to just, take a step back and take a look at this monthly chart because if anybody has any question as to whether we're in an uptrend or not, I don't think there's any doubt. This market is in a clear uptrend. But if the Nasdaq does not advance more than 553 points in the next two sessions on the 27th and the 28th, we're going to have a down month in February, which snaps a 3-month winning streak of November, December, and January. Yeah, we've had negative months before, going back to that three waves down, I believe, from 2023. But overall, the market's trending higher. If you're, short term, day trading and really looking at the markets closely, and then you're thinking, wow, this market really stinks because it's been going sideways for a while. But I just wanted to point out this is just 1 month. We're in an uptrend. Probably the pullback will be healthy. And I just got to say that prior Marches have been really strong. While February is kind of a weak month, March has been strong. In the month of March of 2024 was up 1.79%. Then if we go to 2023 is up 6.69%. And even during the bear market of 2022, we had an up month in March of 3.4%. So don't get too negative here. I think March will be a lot better than February, which is not saying much. It's a pretty brutal month, down 2.8%. It's if I go back to the daily here, it's been chop suey from this area here, December 16th of 2024, 20,204. It's just been in this trend now. It's got this low point here of 18,831. I don't know if it's going to get there or not. It definitely tested it on Tuesday at 871. Today, the low was above yesterday's low, so that's always a good sign. We'd consider that, the start of an attempted rally, and you always got to wait for the short sellers to get out of the way. And this looks like short covering to me. It's just a low volume, cover your butt, cover your profits after this 4 days of sell off, short covering. But that's why we wait, till the fourth day to have a follow through day of a 1% or more gain with volume higher than the prior session. So that's what we're looking for right now. No need to just jump right in with both feet. It's very likely that it retests that 831 area at some point. I don't know when, but at some point it probably will before, resuming higher. Anyway, we do have two more days left in this month, and yeah, just in a trade range here, folks. So, with every tradable range, there's these little, short-term rallies that we get, these little, spikes up, but they always, they've been sold off into, right? Every time it comes down, it rallies back up. So now it's come down, so let's see it rally back up, but still in the trade range. All right, that's it for the Nasdaq. I'm not going to go through all the other indexes. I'm just going to kind of pick out the top Mag 7 stocks, which is Meta Platforms, kind of the top performing stock in this group. It pulled back to its 50 for the first time since the breakout from its base, found support and bounce. And that's kind of like textbook action. That's what you want to see in your stocks. That's what you expect. If it fell through that 50 there, that would be an expectation breaker, but it didn't. It came down and sold off like 5 days in a row after being up for like a month straight, 20 something straight days. So it sold off like 6 days in a row, back to the 50 for the first time since the breakout from this base, found support and bounce. So Meta doing what it's supposed to be doing. The other one is Tesla, which is just in a free fall. It's spiraling downward. And I had some friends who were saying, like, this is the absolute low here at 330. And I'm going, these things can go down further than you think. It was right around in here this day, and then it bounced, and I thought, maybe he's right. And then all of a sudden, whoop, here we go again. Now it's below 300, 290. And he's telling me that 300 is the absolute low. Now it's at 290. So these things can go down. Looks like it wants to kiss the 200, maybe. I don't know. I just stay away from stuff like that. And we've got quite a few stocks that look like that are, 40% off of their highs in a very short period of time. I showed you a bunch of stocks recently, and I'm not going to go through them because it's just too depressing. I'm going to get to I'm going to get to earnings because earnings eventually drives your stock price higher. So companies got to deliver earnings, and they might not, create stock appreciation right away, but over time, if you continually report strong earnings in which Tesla has not, by the way, I'm looking down here at slow growth. But stocks that deliver strong sales and earnings growth over time will eventually get rewarded. This is CAVA, which was an expensive stock to begin with. Yeah, it's got 1 billion in sales and 11 billion market cap, so it's trading 11 times sales. Same source sales were phenomenal. I mean, the report was good, but just, it's just overpriced right now. And with the market coming in, these growth stocks are getting hit. This was a leader in 2024, and I'm going to say something here. Stocks that were leaders in 2024, like Reddit and A-Lab and the CAVA, they're probably not going to lead the next rally. Now that being said, I'm dodging around here, but stocks like CrowdStrike were leaders in 2024 and could be leaders once again in 2025. So I'm looking at stocks showing relative strength that are going to be leaders going forward. I don't think CAVA is going to be one. This is Intuit, which reported last night. Very strong earnings, nice response to the earnings, but look at where it came from. I mean, 714 down to what, 550, and now a bounce like 625. Can't get excited about that. But all they can do is deliver strong earnings. Workday reported a nice report. A little breakout. It was below the 50. Now it's above, still, consolidating within that base. If we want to take a look at a weekly chart, yeah, still consolidating within this big base here. 294 would be the standard buy point, but all they can do, like I said, is report strong earnings. Ooh, this is a Maple Bear or Instacart. Yeah, I mean, they're playing taps here, down 12%. Wow. So somebody didn't like that report, and they were selling that stock today. I'm going to jump around here. Lowe's reported this morning. Now, Home Depot had a decent response to their report, and so did Lowe's. But you're not getting any sales growth here. It's just like an oversold bounce for Lowe's. Lantheus reported very nice response for Lantheus, 16% move. It was above the 200, closed below it. It's got some work to do, but that's a good start with their sales growth. At least they had double-digit sales growth. SEZL, this is a finance stock, and definitely had a good response here, up 5%, now above the moving averages, just still forming this base here. So that one looks pretty decent. Oh man, FLYW, this is Flywire, was downgraded by at least 6 different firms this morning that I saw. Down 37%. Man, you thought TOST and 4 had bad responses to earnings. This one, ooh, man, 37%. That's like, man, I don't even, that's just really too negative for me to even go there. GO, which is grocery outlet, reported and down 30%. So there's some really negative reactions to earnings. And that's why I say these earnings reports, you got to hold your stock into earnings, but it's a risk event. And some of these stocks are getting murdered. This is Lemonade. They got burned by the fires in Southern California. Not too bad, 1.5% down. The insurance stocks have been hot, and obviously this one is not. So definitely, if you're going to own an insurance stock, this is not the one to own. ZETA, I've kind of ignored this one since they had, accusations of accounting, issues. I don't deal with that stuff well, and this one's down 13%. So somebody else is selling it besides me. MASI, this one had a nice response. Kind of a breakout here at 12%. With that kind of a volume, that's a move not to be ignored. We'll see how this type of move responds in this current tape because they have not been responding well. I showed you a video a couple days ago of how the gappers have been doing, and none of them have been doing well. They're selling strength as liquidity appears to be exiting this market. I can only speculate. Just looking at the charts, money's coming out of the market. They're selling stocks. This is Jazz. Nice report. These guys are doing like, $1 billion a quarter, and it's an 8 billion. So they're doing like 4 billion in sales or more, and it's an 8 billion market cap. So 2 times sales is not real expensive for this drug stock, and it's performing well. Look at the move ahead of the earnings, then pull back to the 10 on earnings and pop 3%. So that looks pretty good for Jazz, TRIN. This is another finance stock. Some of the finance stocks are doing pretty well. Trinity Capital made a nice move of 5% there. Let's take a look at the weekly on this one. Yeah, nice breakout here recently and following through. So that looks pretty good from Phoenix, Arizona. All right, and then another drug stock, MDGL. Nice move here. This is not, I wouldn't consider this a breakout. It hit that old pivot point and then got rejected here and closed at the middle of the daily range. 15% move though with that kind of volume. RS line heading north. I mean, anything, moving 15% in this tape, pretty strong and outperforming. Anyway, all right. I'm going to take a look at some stocks now. Just observing. I showed you crowd earlier because this is what I'm looking for in stocks here that, yeah, it's going to break out. It's going to make a new high here, 455 on February 18th, pulls back to its 50. So what do you expect there? The expectation is that it finds support and bounces. And today it bounced over 401. To me, the buy point 389, or let's say call it 390 with volume. Yeah, you could take that on, with a short leash. You don't want now let's just say you bought it at 390 and you're up $5 or whatever, 389 or 390 and you're up. You don't want that profit to turn into a loss. So in this type of environment, you're more apt to take a quick trade, just take the profit because you don't want to let that win turn into a loss. Now you have a win, you're up $5. You can hold it overnight into tomorrow. Maybe, we get some good earnings reports tonight and it trades over 400 tomorrow and you got yourself a good entry. Um, but for right now, I wouldn't want to and I did buy this stock that I don't want to win turn into a loss. So yeah, I'm holding it. 390. I had that on my ready list, but it's just such a tough tape to get real big in. But CrowdStrike looks pretty good. Another one, BROS is Dutch Bros. A gap tire pulled back to its 21. I was expecting it to find support there, and it did. I want to see it trade above these moving averages here with volume. So it did have above average daily volume today. Not a bad day. It closed in the middle of its daily range, but it was up to 77.29. Pulled back a couple of bucks, but it found support at the 21, and that's the main thing right now in this tape. Could this one be a leader in 2025? Absolutely. That's why I'm watching it. So could CrowdStrike, so could Netflix. Netflix pulled back to its 50 and then found support and bounced. So this is kind of what I'm expecting here from these stocks, these potential leaders, these strong stocks. OKLO has been a big winner, and then it pulled back to its 50 for the first time since the breakout. Found support. It bounced. It was up nearly 10%. I would call that a bounce, but this one really moved. So I'm expecting it to blow through 40 here pretty soon. If, it's going to be a real significant bounce here. Anyway, got some, yeah, nice support and bounce. And that's all you can ask for in this tape. The first pullback to the 50 since the breakout. And anyway, that's kind of what I'm looking for in stocks. I'm just looking for some strength here. Eli Lilly. Obviously a strong stock. It was up a lot higher than that today, 922. So it closed, okay, 71% of the daily range. Not bad. I have this one on our ready list as well, and it's starting to move away from my buy point, but still it's got a couple others here at 937 and 972. I think it's going to 1,000, but that's just my opinion. CORT is another one, and the drug stocks with Lilly, that one of the stronger stocks, pulled back to its 50 for the first time since breaking out from this base, found support and bounced 3.5%. That 50 was at 59.38 and touched down to 59.09 and then closed at 63. So a nice $4 bounce. It's like 7%. So that one looks pretty good. Then TGTX, I had this one on the ready list, probably too early, and now it's below its 50, which I don't like, but they're going to report earnings on Monday, and they're going to report their first $100 million quarter here. So you can see the accelerating sales growth from 44 to I guess it's going to be about anywhere between 102 and 105 million. So triple digit sales growth, and you can see every quarter it's going higher and higher. So they're taking market share. And tomorrow, TGTX has a phase 3 trial that some data will be reported after the market closes tomorrow. I think about maybe 6 o'clock East Coast time. So that phase 3 data could move this stock both ways. The trial data cuts both ways, and so does their earnings on Monday morning. This is a heavily shorted stock, so the shorts don't have a lot of time to get out of here. If I was short, I'd get out before that trial data tomorrow. Obviously, they've had, a pretty good time of it here in TGTX since 36, down to what, 28 yesterday. So, if you're short, you can't get greedy, man. That's a pretty good trade. Or even if you shorted up here at 34 down to 28, $6, or that's a nice trade. So it stands to reason the shorts are going to cover into the data points, the multi-data points for TGTX. All right, I'm going to move on because what's really kind of bugging me, and I'm seeing a lot of these the banks are moving higher. This is a British bank, Barclays. These foreign banks are doing well. Our banks are doing well too, but Deutsche Bank is another one that's doing well. This is a German bank. I mean, look at this thing. These things are just going crazy. A lot of the foreign stocks are doing well, and our stocks are not. So that's a big concern for me because I'm trying to make money on U.S. stocks, and maybe I should be buying some of these China stocks or some of these foreign assets, the South American, European or China stocks. JP Morgan, again, a leading stock, broke out of this base, made a new high recently of on this day here, February 18th, 279.97, we'll call it 280, then pulled back yesterday to 253, which is its 50. So the first pullback to the 50 since the breakout. Today had an inside day. That's just a mini bounce. This thing's got to bounce a little sharper than that, but the banks are doing pretty well, and especially some of these, like I mentioned, BBVA. This is a Spanish bank. Yeah, I mean, look at this thing. This thing's going bonkers. Um, Santander. This is a big bank from Spain, just ripping higher. This is 100 billion market cap. This thing's ripping higher. I know you say, oh, it's only $6. Well, if it goes from 4 to 6, that's a 50% move, regardless of the price. And it's a big market cap bank. HSBC is another one. Yeah, just ripping higher. This is man, this is bugging me a little bit because I don't. This is an area that I don't participate, and I probably should be. The earnings line going north, the stock is going north, and it's kind of like right in my bailiwick. But I haven't been playing these Argentina stocks. They're falling out a little bit. So anyway, all right, I got to get out of this. All right, I'm going to go to China. China's starting to do better. I watch Bloomberg at night and I see the Hang Seng doing well. And these China stocks are doing well. I just have not pulled the trigger. Tried to trade this one day and got shaken out. So I'm just not. I have no conviction in these stocks, so it's hard for me to hold them. Although this looks like BABA just minding it's surfing its 5 EMA here. I'm not going to switch the moving average, but yeah, that's what it's doing. And then FUTU, another one. This is above 130. FUTU. Is it above 130? No, this thing really sold off. So it came up to that 130 area and then formed this handle. Nice little shakeout to the 21. So keep my eye on this one. Up 9% after that shakeout. See if it gets back up to that 130 level and blast through. And I think it will if everything, goes accordingly as it has been. No reason for it to change unless the month changes everything as we start a new month on Monday. All right, I'm going to get to some earnings reports. Everybody has got their eyes on these earnings reports tonight, including NTNX. Software name up 13%. Thank you very much. Snowflake, another one, up 11.5%. Thank you very much. So this looks good for our software names tomorrow, I hope. Um, Synopsys, this is like a Cadence with the computer software design, up 1%, not too bad. They had a pretty good report, just not moving that much. FTAI, one of these aviation stocks, down a little bit after hours. JOBY, they reported after hours, up 3.5%. Pure Storage, Charlie Giancarlo's company. Ooh, Charlie's getting a haircut, and he doesn't have much to cut. Down 10%. Wow. Not good. How about the retail name Urban Outfitters up 2%? I'll have all these, some more color on some of these reports in the mornings. I saw Sweet Greens getting the CAVA treatment here, just selling off, and now down another 13% to $20. So somebody doesn't like their earnings report. Teladoc reported tonight. Ooh, 12% haircut. Oh yeah, there's this little company called NVDA reporting and up a buck. This is starting to worry me here. NVIDIA just reporting blowout quarter after blowout quarter, just crushing it, raising guidance, and the stock's not moving. Kind of tells me that, it's all priced in and that, they can't say enough to make their stock go higher. I mean, I don't know what a company has to do. Really strong guidance. Maybe tomorrow it'll get a little bit of juice, but up a buck with that kind of earnings and guidance is not yeah, it doesn't give me much hope. And what it tells me is maybe investors are moving out of these hyperscalers, like I showed you earlier, Tesla and maybe Nvidia and Microsoft and Google and into, some of the other plays in the AI market. So not a great move for NVIDIA. CRM, which is Benioff's company, down. This is a NVIDIA and Salesforce. They're both Dow Jones components. So Dow Jones, I don't know. It's a price weighted index. There's Salesforce at 300, and it certainly has sold off pretty sharply recently, like a lot of other things. IONQ, this thing got ahead of itself. This quantum computing, we all know this space was just, this parabolic move had to unwind, and it has, down from 54 to 26. So it's been cut in half. And, rightfully so. They don't have much in the way of, you're looking at 11, 12, 12 yeah, million in sales with what is 6.5 billion market cap. This is ridiculous. And then Root, another insurance company, up 16% after hours. This one really moves. This one is like the OKLO and GRRR. Really, it was big daily ranges. So people like to day trade like Root. And then AI. AI reported another software name down 3% after hours. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Except for none of the great Steve Jobs. I have one more thing. Tomorrow morning, we're going to hear from Vistra. This thing was up a lot today and it's up after hours. And one of the companies that I didn't mention earlier, NRG, reported today and it was up 10%. They had a deal with GE Vernova and well, their report was rewarded. And I'm wondering if Vistra made its big move today or it's going to make its big move after earnings tomorrow. And perhaps they'll have some big news along with their contracts or something with their earnings report. So this is one that I'm watching. I don't buy stuff down here, but I'm watching. And if it rallied through this little bunch of sideways action, I would be interested in this stock for sure. I don't like the breach, of this 28% move on the whack day of the 27th, but this area in here, 175, 170, if it could break through this area, I would be interested. So I'm watching that one tomorrow. Another one that's reporting is this Norwegian cruise line, which got whacked last week on the rumor of the was it the virus from Wuhan? Because nobody's going to be taking a cruise if there's a virus, and we haven't heard much about that recently. So short sellers are doing anything to upset stocks. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Let me see. Let me see here. Oh, Geo reports in the morning. Yes. Oh boy, that thing's been beaten up. VTRS reports in the morning. VRNA is a biotech stock that's just done really, really well, surfing its moving average. They report in the morning. So, yeah, a lot to look forward to tomorrow morning. Not going to be market moving like NVIDIA, but TD also reports in the morning. I wanted to talk about some of these software names that have been beaten down. This is AppLovin. They had a short report by last week it was the Bear Cave, and then this week it was Fuzzy Panda. I mean, and these short sellers hide behind these fictitious names. So nobody knows who they are, but you could see that, on Wall Street, they just sell first and ask questions later. And this one, gapped up, made a high after its earnings, and now retreated to its 50 and is traded below it. But and it traded and undercut this base here of 307. So this is starting a new base count here. I don't know if anybody's interested in this this stock here that traded down to 288 today and then rallied right back up to like 330. Not bad. But a short seller doesn't have to be correct or accurate or anything. They just have to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And that's what's happened here. I don't know who Fuzzy Panda is or the Bear Cave. It could be the same person. But definitely the short report is working here on AppLovin. I believe last week the management team came out and said, the short report's a bunch of BS. I don't know if they responded today. Um, but when you see a vertical violation like this, that I stay away. This is like the deep seek whack day for some of those utility names that never return back to form like a VRT. You got to stay away from this type of action because what happens is it rallies up to a moving average and then just craters. So be careful with AppLovin. I'm going to go back to AppLovin for a minute because I mentioned earlier that Tesla was 40% off of its high, and it's kind of been a drip, drip, drip thing with Tesla. But AppLovin's done this, 37% off its high in a very short period of time. You can see just a few days last week and a few days this week, and 37%, abracadabra, man. Whew, that is really a lot of pain. The same with Palantir. This one is sold off down to its 50 for the first time since the breakout. But once again, this thing is, 30% off of its high in a very short period of time. So there's a lot of selling going on here and money coming out of this market. And I'm trying to find where it's going, but it's really not. It's just, you see some utilities, some insurance, some financials that I showed you, but there's not a lot of leadership. It's like a fish out of water, just, flapping around on the deck there. So yeah, there's no direction and no real leadership in this market. So that's why, the leaders will tell you how, the strength of the market. And we're seeing the leaders behave like this is just not a market to be messed with. It's very treacherous. And if you're on the sidelines in cash, which I know a lot of you are waiting for a follow-through day, that's fine. Cash is a position. You can avoid all this carnage. You can do a little triage and create your watch list with stocks showing relative strength, which I'm going to show in this weekend's video because I think March is going to be better. So on March 1, I'll just, post some stocks that I think have potential, that have held up well and have potential to move. So anyway, I just wanted to show you those names. Shopify is another one that had a nice earnings report, that moved higher, made this high on February 18th, like a lot of stocks. And then at 129 now sold off. Yesterday it undercut its 50 down to 107. Bounced a little bit, but still right there at its 50 at 113. So needs to push through. Like I say, 2 days left in February. Maybe we get a bounce. But just hang in there because the tide is going to turn and this tape is not going to last forever. We know that. Here's the Nasdaq on the weekly, going through this little rough patch here, just a little sideways action, but we want to, step on the gas here and then put on the brakes here. We're going to step on the gas here and then put the brakes on here and step on the gas here. get out of the market here and step on the gas here, and now we're doing this, and it's just kind of it's too choppy. Like I said, I had 3 or 4 trades in a row that were negative, and that tells me that the market's working against me. I am wrong. The market is right. And so I don't want to argue with the market. So I just kind of regrouping here. So CrowdStrike was the one stock that I thought, showing strength and leadership. And I believe Bros too is, you know, actionable here as it plows through its 10 EMA here. Definitely just a stock that I like that I think could be a leader going forward. And like I said, I'll have a video on Saturday with leaders or potential leaders, stocks showing relative strength that could be potential leaders. I'll have that on Saturday. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.